Well, ladies and gentlemen, long time no see. Listen, man, I hope everybody's been good. I hope you guys have been safe. I hope you guys have been gaming. I hope you guys just been good. I feel a lot better from last time you saw me on camera. I've healed up a bit here. So I want to definitely do this video real quick. Granted, I'm not on camera, but it is what it is. I have a lot I want to digest in terms of, breaking down for you guys. And also, I got a lot that's on my mind right now. So as you guys already seen, and I'm pretty sure those of you that follow me on Twitter, you already know, just because I'm not vocal here, doesn't mean I'm not vocal anywhere else. If you guys want to see or catch up what I do or just see what's been going on, make sure you guys follow me on Twitch and Twitter. I'll be definitely getting back to streaming on there. But in terms of where I've been writing, and I've just been chilling for the most part, actually enjoying games. I've been away from a lot of stuff that you guys are seeing right now, happening online. And it's crazy just how things have shifted. I want you guys to understand something. At the start of this generation has so much to live up to. The PS4 generation, although it was great, it was like a swan song for PlayStation, and they made an epic turnaround. They made that epic comeback. They earned the consumer's trust. Everybody was excited. Gaming was fun again. Everybody was just looking forward to seeing what was going to happen. We were already getting amazing experiences on PlayStation 4, and we were over the moon for what we were receiving. So when you throw in a new PlayStation 5, right, and you throw in the talent that we have now, you already knew everybody was going to be over the moon for what we were going to get. This generation starts, and the main thing we have been greeted with has been remakes and remasters of the same games we've already purchased on PlayStation 4. I decided to be vocal. I tell you guys how I feel about it. I get on this microphone. I tell you my raw thoughts. I do the very thing that I've always been doing on this channel, especially when it came to me in my older times, in my older days where I used to go after Xbox. But I've been very honest with you in how I felt. I felt like it was a lazy attempt. It was just lazy. The fact that we're getting the same rehashed games because they sold. And then what's funny? You would think the community would be unified in this situation in terms of demanding better. You would think the community would have their priorities in check on what they wanted, especially with the template and the standards that were already set with the PlayStation 4 gen. You would think with those standards, everything that we fought for in terms of DRM, in terms of better quality games, in terms of better games worth the price point, and actual creative ideas we were pushing for in PlayStation 4, right? You would think with the PS5, we would get those. It is damn near 4 years since the PS5 has been out on the market. Going on 4 years, remember correctly. And since the PlayStation 5 has been out, we have only had probably 1 or 2, maybe even 3 new experiences from PlayStation's first-party studios. It's crazy. Most of the stuff that we have been getting in terms of PlayStation has been courtesy of one studio, and that is Insomniac Games. Insomniac Games has given you sequels, and they've expanded upon sequels with, the Spider-Man license. And as you guys already know, with the leaks and the hack and everything, there's a lot more happening in that regards. But again, that's just one studio. So dudes came at me. Dudes saying, "Bit, you know what you're talking about. Be quiet. Things get better." The fact that you don't have faith in PlayStation it's just cringe. All this dumb stuff. Big Cloud's trying to cater to Xbox fanboys. He's trying to cater to PlayStation, or he's trying to cater to the PC community. All that stuff. Listen, I've said this to you guys loud and clear, and I guess I'm gonna say this again to you. In fact, you can ask every PC elitist who actually respects me and what I have to say and actually talks to me here and there. They will tell you flat out, I'm not a PC elitist. I've always been a PlayStation dude. PlayStation will always be home. But the problem is, I know at the end of the day, home is where the games are, right? Home is where you feel at home. You know what I mean? Like home is where the love is. You feel it there. As of late, I have not been feeling that with PlayStation 5. As of late, I have not been feeling that with PlayStation. And people might be saying, oh, that was Jim Ryan's decision, blah, blah, blah. Believe it or not, it wasn't. Jim Ryan was doing what Jim Ryan needed to do to maintain money for PlayStation. Jim Ryan saw the trend and the change in business. That's why I told you guys, Jim Ryan's a good businessman, but he's a terrible PR guy. He knows how to bring in money, and he demonstrated that with the PS5 early on. The PlayStation 5, in terms of revenue, has damn near surpassed the PlayStation 4 gen. And think about this, for example. They've damn near surpassed the PlayStation 4 gen, and us, the consumer, have gotten jack shit in terms of crazy games for the lineup. Most of the stuff that you've gotten from PlayStation 5 have been remakes and remasters or sequels of games that have already been established. No crazy new ideas. Now, people might be going, well, Bib, what about the state of play? Oh, don't worry. I'm going to get into that, especially with this new leadership. But more on that in a second. Jim Ryan leaves. People celebrating. I told you guys flat out, don't get too excited. Why? Because you don't know how these new CEOs are going to work. You don't know how things are going to transpire. A lot of you are counting your sheets, or counting your chickens before they hatch. A lot of you thought it was going to be this instant 180 and everything was going to go. But what did I tell you? Just because Jim Ryan's gone doesn't mean that the board of directors, which, by the way, is the heart and soul of the company right there, they want the same revenue. So with that being said, the changes that Jim Ryan put into place that was making them bank, especially with them having little to no effort, you really thought they were going to leave that stuff on the table? No, they were going to expand upon that. Now, let's throw in the new regime. We had Hiroki Totoki take over. Hiroki Totoki and the other CEO, I forgot who his name was, my apologies, but it's on my channel if you guys want to see that. I did videos on that where I said the end of exclusives. But they came together. They said, we're going to be expanding heavily into, PC. We're going to be heavily laser focused on, pushing hard for that, going 100% into that. And Doosan going, oh, it's not going to happen. They mean service games. Before I even get into the Herman Hulst situation with the state of play and everything, I want you guys to understand what you guys said to me when we said this. Big Cloud, it's not day and date. That means service games. We still got our single player games. Okay. Riddle me this. What single player games do you currently have out? Or in fact, what single player games have been confirmed for PlayStation 5 since this state of play? What single player first party games, keyword first party games, not second party games, which is hilarious to me, how little so much of you know. The fact that people are coping, looking for ways to try and throw this number up of exclusives, is hilarious to me. Okay? When we're talking about exclusives, we're talking about in-house first-party studios here. Second-party exclusives, those little timed exclusives, do nothing for me. Okay? Do nothing for your argument. But if you want to throw them out to make yourself feel better, sure. But guess what? The internet's going to laugh. The internet doesn't forget. The internet will laugh at this. So if you guys want to continue to fight that, continue to fight that. I'm not going to sit here and be the guy to tell you what not to do. But I am going to give you the feedback of the people. And the people are telling you they don't care about time exclusivity. They just don't. Okay? They just don't. Back to this. What have you gotten for PlayStation 5? First party wise, that is a single player game. Can't answer me that, can you? You know what you have been getting? A whole bunch of service-based games. Ironically, the very games you said you don't want, you guys decided to co-sign. It all started with Helldivers. Dudes were saying Foam Stars are going to be that game. Dudes hyping up Foam Stars. And then as soon as Helldivers hit the market, within 3 days, everybody left the Foam Stars hype and was on Helldivers. You know why that was, ladies and gentlemen? Because there was never any hype for that game to begin with. That was corporate cheerleading to try to make it seem like things were not dire for what they are right now. So what did you do? You went to Helldivers. And then dudes started to see Helldivers is the greatest thing ever. Dudes started quoting one of my favorite movies of all time, Starship Troopers. Dudes said Helldivers is the greatest thing ever, right? It's so great. Sony's back and all this stuff. And then we get the statistics for the game. And the statistics showed that only 40% of the PlayStation community actually supported this game. Whereas over 60% have supported this game with PC. This game was $40 at launch and became an instant success. And dudes tried to take credit for clearly what the PC community did. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and shame the PlayStation community for a lot of things. I'm not. But one thing I am going to shame you for is the gaslighting and overhyping of stuff that you know damn well you're not doing. I'm not with this. Okay? I'm not with this. Now let's go a little further. With this. Helldivers sold well on PlayStation 5, on PC, and it did good on PS5. But again, most of the sales were on PC. It was really carried by the PC community. In fact, there were more concurrent players on PC. So, Sony decided to try something with the PC community, and this is why I told y'all, you guys have all the power in the world to make PlayStation great, but you don't utilize it. You sit back and you act complacent. You act like any form of criticism is someone trying to conform to another side, or someone who just wants views, or someone who's just looking to anger you. I have been consistent 110% across the board on how I feel about the current state of PlayStation. The current state of PlayStation is not even holding a candle to the state of PlayStation that we got with PlayStation 4. PlayStation 4, they knew they had to fight to get our attention. They had to make sure that they earned our respect back. They earned our support. Our loyalty was tested with the PS3 gen. But they really had to fix that with the 4. And they did that. Now that they fixed that, and Microsoft's not really showing much of a threat at the time, right? All of a sudden, the light switch went off, and Sony decided not to push anything. And you know what's funny? Dudes say, you know what? They don't need. Dudes actually had the nerve to say Sony doesn't need to do anything. Really? We bought into a console, okay? We bought into an ecosystem that's supposed to be filled with a plethora of games for us to play. The fact that you were coming out here saying that Sony does not need to do X, Y, and Z is some of the most hypocritical and just nauseating thing like I've ever heard. We are the consumer. We make the platform. We are the heart and soul that fuels these games. The studios and the developers create the magic. We support the magic, and everything goes full circle. We, at the end of the day, are consumers. We do not work for these multi-billion-dollar corporations. Some people have connections like yours truly. Some people have went to these events and met people. Some of these people have, have had, some people have went out here and done better things and are connected. But that doesn't mean all of you are. Most of you are not. So the fact that I see this corporate cheerleading, these nonstop Twitter spaces, telling people that, oh, you should not do this, you should be happy with what you're getting from PlayStation when you're not getting anything, is hilarious to me at the time. It's hilarious. It was like a popularity contest for mediocrity. And it was nauseating to look at it. Now let's fast forward into where we are now. Herman Hulst takes over PlayStation as CEO, a co-CEO with what's his face. Herman Hulst is looking over PlayStation Studios. He's looking over expansion of those studios into, other mediums such as TV and movies. That's where he cuts off at. The other one is looking at business and expanding from business. And they all report to one head or two heads at this point, Hiroki Totoki and the CEO that beforehand. I don't know why I didn't write their names down. Excuse me for that. But I'm just telling you how I felt. This is what's been going on in my mind right now. Right? So Herman Hulst does the interview, and dude is over here championing this interview. This man flat out said that all PlayStation Studio games are flat out timed exclusives. That's what he told y'all. All PlayStation first party studios games are timed exclusives. He said we're going to be strategic in our releases as we're focusing on growth. And then we saw a slide. And a lot of people are using this slide to damage control the whole Lego situation. But before we saw the slide, we saw, the Horizon Lego thing. They talked about toys. They talked about amusement parks, basically everything Nintendo Land, Nintendo Land is kind of doing, right? Sony wants to get into that Nintendo Land type of vibe. They want to expand and get out there. I'm looking at this, right? I'm like, okay, I already know what this means, but a lot of people are going to have to find out in their own way. And like clockwork, Sony does one of the biggest shifts I have ever seen. I want you to understand something. Sony was probably the most stingy out of the big three for as long as we have seen them. As for as long as I've been covering PlayStation, Sony has been one of the most stingy out of the big three. Like when it came to games going to other platforms, they said, no, nada. You want to get on that? You got to buy my product. Oh, you want crossplay? Nada. Who wants crossplay? Who wants old games? Now it's we believe in generations. We believe in yada, yada, yada. All this stuff Sony is now the front runner for. And a lot of people are saying, oh, it's no big deal. I'm okay with it, right? Ladies and gentlemen, Sony decides to come out with Lego Horizon. Now, Lego Horizon is not a game I'm going to buy. As much as I like Horizon, I'm not buying a Lego version of Horizon. It's not that I have anything against the game or anything. It's just Lego games don't do nothing for me. But aside from the game being announced, and we heard this was a rumor going around, and it got confirmed, the game is not only coming to PlayStation 5 and PC day and date, it is also going to Nintendo Switch. Now, in that graph that Sony showed, they talked about how there is a ridiculous amount of PlayStation 4 users still. And they want to convert PlayStation 4 users to PlayStation 5. Now, instead of offering a reason to jump to PlayStation 5, like getting rid of cross-gen games, which we've all been talking about for quite some time. The very thing that Sony lied to us about when we first got PlayStation 5, when we got Miles Morales. Do you guys remember that? And I vented on that, and then the same ass kissers decided to damage control and say, do you not know how business works, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's 4 years later, and you still got cross-gen titles. So excuse me for being the only one who had balls to tell you how it was. I'm sick and tired of you complacent weirdos. I really, really am. Continuing with this, the game is going to Nintendo Switch. And I'm like, okay, I already know where this is heading, but a lot of you just don't want to say it. So instead, you guys decide to say some stupid stuff like, oh, well, this is a Lego decision. Guys, who owns Horizon? Horizon is owned by PlayStation, is owned by SIE. SIE owns the intellectual property of Horizon. The person who has to say so and where that platform goes or product goes is the owner of said product. This product was a collaboration of Guerrilla Games and Asobo with Lego. That's what this game was. Okay, this game was a legit collaboration to put this game on multiple platforms to further expand the PlayStation user base further. That's what it was. And speaking of expanding the PlayStation, expanding further, you notice how Sony decided to pull a Sony and tried to muscle the PC community. You notice how quickly and unified the PC community was, and how quick Sony folded when they tried to go, hey, you need PSN requirements for this. Mind you, this is in territories where the game doesn't have, where they don't have PS Plus. So users who actually had the game and were enjoying the game, in this case, Helldivers, didn't have access to the game anymore. So you know what they did? They refund the money. And in less than 24 hours, Sony reversed the decision. Now people going, oh, well, you still need a PSN requirement to play these games and this, that, and the third. I'm telling you right now, y'all see this stuff, but I'm guarantee you this stuff's going to be reversed very sooner than you guys think. And what's even more funny about it, yes, it's for PlayStation Trophy support. For those of you that were asking why they're doing that, it's for PlayStation Trophy support. If you want the trophies, logically, it makes sense you would need to link your account to it and then link the trophies, etc. That's what Sony wants you to do. But again, there's going to be a way around this, as I can already see it happening. So we go further. Lego's confirmed, it's going to other platforms, et cetera, et cetera. And then we get one of the most god-awful state of plays that you could possibly ask for. No announcements that are worthwhile. Nothing insane. But we did get Concord. Concord immediately was just disliked into oblivion. The game was not going to do well out the gate. No one was talking about it. No one was excited about it. It just flat out told you the dire state of where things are right now. But you know what's funny, though? And you can thank the PC community for this. My PlayStation brothers, you can thank the PC community for this. Because of the PC community, that game is $40. Because of the PC community, I'm pretty sure all service games that Sony's going to do from this point forward will be $40. Meanwhile, we're paying $70 for games that are barely 15 hours long, some of which you can beat in rapid succession. Crazy, right? Listen, I understand loyalty. I'm one of the most loyal consumers on the planet. As much as I've been angry with PlayStation in certain decisions, I will always still champion PlayStation as my go-to platform. It's my favorite platform. But my favorite platform does not stop me at the end of the day from telling you how I feel. Okay? The current state of PlayStation is the worst state of PlayStation. The lack of trying, the lack of effort, the lack of excitement coming out of this box. And the crazy thing about this generation, you can argue, you can ask any diehard PlayStation fanboy, you can ask any fan who probably wasn't a fan of PlayStation 4, they will tell you the PS5 is a dream system compared to the PS4. It has everything that you could possibly want. It's got the power. It's got the accessibility. It is a very tuned machine. It has everything you could possibly want for good improvement and steady gameplay. And we're not getting any games out of this. So how is it that the console that was underwhelming to the developers produced 5 times more games than the PS5, which is supposed to be the dream system? Explain that to me. And now we got a new PS5, and dudes talking about, oh, the new PS5, the Pro. Y'all complaining about the Xbox, the all digital one being $600, but y'all were sitting going, yeah, see, that's $600. That's not worth it, but the Pro is going to be worth it. Excuse me, but last time I checked, wasn't there the point behind buying a console, the software? Where's the compelling software to buy for a PlayStation 5? The fact that Microsoft showing off Doom and announcing Doom is coming to PlayStation 5 and Sony championing Doom and on Twitter is a highlight for them is embarrassing on PlayStation's part. Where are your first party studio games? The fact that Microsoft just had one of the biggest, this gave Sony the biggest slap in the face in a long time, with one of the greatest showcases they've ever put on. When I tell you this showcase was everything that we've been asking for from PlayStation and more, it was. Anybody trying to downplay that Xbox showcase is not a gamer and clearly is looking for something else to just complain about and be fake about. Okay? I'm sick and tired of everybody being weird. Where's the honesty? Seriously, where's the honesty? It's okay to be a fan of a platform. It's okay to be a stan of a platform. But when the platform is not giving you what you want and what you are entitled to as someone who bought into the service and has waited X amount of years, I'm sorry. There's no damage control and there's no defending it. But the sad part is people are defending it. A lot of PlayStation gamers spoke up and actually sounded like me for a change. And I actually had a big smirk on my face. Well, not smirk, but a smile on my face. Because there you go. You guys finally woke up. I have no reason to get on camera for RGT and lie and to lie to you. I have no reason to do a video and to lie to you. I gain nothing from doing content for the distinct purpose just to lie to you and tell you things that you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want. The current state of PlayStation was already doomed from the start at the way things were going. And the fact, that we're probably going to have to wait another year for something substantial is insane to me. Because we went 1 year with one game. This year we're hardly any. and now we're going to go for a whole year, with just like wishful thinking. Sorry. But I'm not with it. I'm just not with it. Now, as far as where the future lies, you already know where the future's going, man. Dude saying that day and date's not going to happen. A lot of you, shout out to y'all that have been hitting me up. I see y'all. Listen, I see the DMs. I don't answer as much because, I be gaming, man. I be getting away from this. But a lot of you are now piecing this together. A lot of you are now seeing the course that Sony is on right now. If you pay close attention, it is very similar to what Microsoft is doing. Only they're actually further behind than Microsoft. Microsoft's full in terms of like this utopia type of approach where everybody gets to play everything. Sony is going to follow suit in that regard. I'm telling you right now, the money is too good for them to pass it up. They're going to be doing that. And keep in mind too, Nintendo's about to launch a new Switch. You don't think Sony's going to be putting more games on Steam as well as as Switch going forward? No, there are going to be more. Okay? The amount of excuses that have happened for PlayStation fanboys, the amount of damage control that's happened has been, I don't even want to say it's been good or glorious. It's actually been quite scary because a lot of you have moved the goalpost so much where I don't think you guys understand what you're fighting for anymore. Seriously. It went from, those are 10-year-old games to those are 5-year-old games. Well, they're 4-year-old games, 3-year-old games, 2-year-old games, etc. Oh, you know what? It's gotten to the point where you're like, oh, you know what? I can't say 2-year-olds. You know what? At least I can say it's not day and date. It went from that pathetic. It went from that pathetic attempt to damage control to you guys now begging PlayStation CEOs for them to not put their games on other platforms without you even realizing the benefits of what you will get for when it goes to those other platforms. I get it. It hurts your argument that you like to go online for and say, oh, I got this game. You don't have this game. But here's the thing. If you care about the studios like I do, if you care about the developers that create the magic, they're the ones who benefit from this. Games that didn't have chances before now can have bigger chances now. Now that more eyes can get on them, more newer customers can get involved with them and support those studios. Those studios can grow and get even more budgets. Those budgets can lead to better, sequels. Those new sequels can lead to better franchises. You see where I'm going with this? It is an effect. It is a ripple effect. It only gets better when more people get a chance to play at this point. And I'm okay with it. And I understand it's weird you hear me say this because I was the guy who was against it. But after seeing how game development works and talking to numerous developers and seeing the passion that goes into this, I'm telling you right now, there are more important things to be upset about or be worried about than another gamer getting to play a game. You want something you want to complain about and actually talk about? Let's complain about the fact we have to pay for online while the PC community does not and play those same games. You want to talk about something to complain about? Why are we paying marked up prices for PS Plus and games in general at $70 where the PC community is not? These are things you guys should be voicing your opinion about. These are things you should be fighting against and demanding better for so we can get more out of PlayStation. Why is it that Microsoft and Nintendo are showing their consumers complete roadmaps of games that are dropping, and Sony sitting here being complacent, saying nothing? These are things you need to complain about and demand answers for. I hope with this video you get it now. I'm not your enemy. I'm your biggest friend in this situation. I'm your biggest, supporter at this point. I want the best for everybody. But in order to get the best for everybody, we all need to come together and understand what the problem is. The problem isn't gamers getting to play a game on another platform. The problem isn't crossplay. The problem isn't Steam or PS Plus integrations. The problem is not that. The problem is the standards that are not being checked. The problem is the complacency in this community. The problem is the damage control in this community. The problem is the amount of bootlicking that is happening in this community. And then when you see another, like the fact that it took the very corporation that most of you dudes dog on a daily fucking basis, the fact that it took a good showcase for them for you to now realize how bad PlayStation has looked speaks volumes for how complacent you have been in this time frame. It has been 4 years of complacency, 4 years of dudes taking credit for supporting games that they clearly weren't playing to begin with. Dudes hyping up 600,000 units sold for Returnal as some big W, but then want to hype it up like it's on some crazy Uncharted level and say that dudes like me were wrong for saying that the game was going to face those type of obstacles, and those dudes didn't even buy it. Dudes want to argue stuff like that instead of going out there and supporting the developers they claim to be so passionate about. Dudes want to argue with me because I called out Naughty Dog from remaking a game that we've already had a remaster for and we don't get any benefit from a remake for. Especially when it has cut content. Dudes want to argue with me about that and say that you are the problem instead of looking in the mirror and seeing what the true problem was. And the problem was what's happening in front of you. You. Enough. Now that your eyes are open, let's hope we get a showcase. But something tells me probably won't. But I do hope we get one. I really do. Because Sony has a lot to answer for. Sony has a lot of questions that need to be answered. And with the current state of PlayStation and this laziness, all of you can only blame one person. I don't want you to blame PlayStation. Oh no, I want you to blame yourself. If you spent all your time on Twitter Spaces masking your true feelings about PlayStation with Xbox news, bashing them, trying to throw them down, talking about developers losing their jobs and and spreading this bullshit toxicity everywhere you go, whether it's a new studio announcement from Microsoft or a new game announcement or a game going here or this, that, and the third. If you are masking your feelings by talking about all this minuscule bullshit on a platform that you claim to hate, right? Instead of talking about the platform that you love, you're the problem. And you know what's funny about this too? You dudes that talked all this trash about these Xbox games are excited to play them when they come to PlayStation. I see all you dudes hyping it up for them to come to PlayStation. So are the Xbox games really bad, or are you guys just bad actors? Some tells me Xbox is making some compelling games. If you guys are on your knees begging and clawing for these games to come to PlayStation, clearly, something is out of whack here, and it ain't me. Anyway, I think I rambled enough. 30 minutes. Hope you guys enjoyed the gameplay. I ain't got no crazy edits for this. You guys want to know what's going on? Okay. This is what's going on with Big Cloud. This is how I feel about the community. This is what's been going on in my head and how I see the community as of late. The PlayStation community used to be proud. It used to be a community that was driven for success. You guys were driven because you guys wanted greatness. You guys added to the tagline, greatness awaits. You guys remember that tagline? Greatness awaits? You guys were adding to that because every time we had something, it felt like greatness. When games got shown, it was greatness. When developers actually were passionate or able to show off their passion, with their games, it was greatness. When Sony had these crazy elaborate showcases and clever ways of getting us hyped, and we're actually trying, guess what? PlayStation was greatness. In 2024, I don't feel that greatness. And I'm not the only one. It's your boy Big Cloud. I'm signing out. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And I want you guys to tell me, seriously, how you really feel about PlayStation now that you got all this news that's happening in front of you. Seriously, let me know how you feel. I'm out of here, man. Y'all have a good one. Peace.